So guys, last class we started the utility topic wherein we try to understood what is the difference between an utility and a COBOL program. The main difference of having a COBOL logic is always on a file dependent, the layout dependent, but a JCL utility, whatever the functional it is used for, that will not be depending on any of the layouts of the files. It can be used for any file of any layout. Apart from that, we started to understand a couple of the utilities like IBGener for copying one PS file to another, IB copy doing the same from PDS to PDS. Then we spoke about IB compare, but actually we did not talk about IB compare. We spoke about the other important one, 3.13 part. Today we'll be having a couple of other points to discuss. One of the point here it is on the storyline. Okay, there is a simple storyline of explanation. Somebody on mute. Okay, so see here guys, very simple way, very nice, easy way. I'm going to tell you how a developer will be trying to code the JCLs and how he will be facing the issues in the project. So there is a requirement, okay, there is a simple request or requirement from a user stating that they need some particular report or file or data process, something like that. So for this, the developer, okay, developer one from respect to JCL, okay, he has coded every COBOL program in the way what we got trained. Now coming to the JCL part, he started to write the job name, job. In that he has some step one which gets the data from a table and creates a file A. Then in step 2 he used another table T2 to create file B. Then what he did, he used a utility sort for a file A and created sort file 1. Same thing he did for the sort of file B with a sort file 2 as output. Final step, sort step 5 S5. He used some other program over here using the sort file 1, sort file 2 logic. He has created a report or a output file. This is what the job he has coded and he tested it. Okay, he tested it. He sent the final report to the user. User verified the data and he said, okay, you can move to production. This is what he got the approval for that. He got the simple approval for the production. Now, as part of production point, as part of the production move, he asked one particular question to the user about the scheduler. The schedule. What is the schedule he want on that particular job? So the user told it is like he want it to be daily at 6 a.m. Daily at 6 a.m. He want the job to be running. As usually, the developer one has scheduled to run 6 a.m. daily starting Monday. Daily starting Monday. So this is what developer has done. On Monday, the first run, guys, this is your first day run. As soon as the first day runs comes, always your changes will be implementing and he or she who has put the code into production has to monitor, guys. If you are the one, you are the moving the code into production, it is your responsible. It is your responsible that you come and check the first run of the process, whether it is success or not. So in our case, developer one is also doing his work. He has kept into monitoring of this particular process. The job got triggered by the scheduler, at 6 a.m. The job ran all steps fine and created a report of the file, whatever the user used nickpied. And at the end of the day, user verified and said all okay. Now this is done for the first day. Everything is going smooth so far. Now Tuesday comes, second day. This is second day as such day. The job again triggered The job triggers every day by the scheduler. That's what the setup has done by the developer 1. And here at 6 a.m. when the job got triggered, guys, immediately the user and the developer who is in support found to see there is a JCL error. On the second day only, the job got failed with a JCL error. Now, can anyone tell me what is the reason for this fellow? What is the reason for this fellow, guys? First day, everything is successful. The job successfully ran, created the data as well.
The file is already created. Now to file.
Right. It's a simple point here that when the day one cycle has been completed, at the end of the day, this job has created 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 files here. It's already created, guys. So when you run the same job second time with this kind of job structure, you will be ending with a JCL error saying that duplicate dataset name. Duplicate dataset name. What are the all duplicates? All of them. File A is already there, file B is already there, sort file 1, sort file 2, report file. All these are present in the job, are created for the first day, and it will be causing issue for the second day. Now the point is how to resolve this duplicate issue. There are two solutions, guys. There are two, 1 and 2. First solution over here is to delete the files before creating it, before the creation of them. This is one way. That means before these files will be creating for the day, I will delete them. Okay, if I delete them and system creates the same file again one more time, it will not be having any duplicate issue. That is one way of solution. Second way is for each run, I need to provide new file name. I need to provide new file name. So if I give new file name also, there will not be any duplicates, right? There are two solutions to solve this problem, guys. One of the solution is to delete the files before they create. Second one is to use the new file name for each run. So whenever you have a job running, the system will be creating new files. So when it is new file, you will not have any duplicate issue as well. So if these are the two solutions, let's try to do them in technically. The first solution is delete the files before the job run, or before the file creation, something like that. Now in here, how to delete a data set? How to delete a data set? What is the answer, guys? How to delete a data set?
3.4D.
Two ways. One is your manual way option where you can go to 3.4D. There's another way. IEF
BR14.
BR14. From the yesterday's class, guys, in the last class, there was a question that how do you delete a data set? Okay, and in IBR14 topic only we told this utility is primarily used for creating and deleting a data set. That's what we told in the last class. This is used to create an empty data set. This is used to delete an existing data set. But there was a question left over. Why do you want to delete a data set in the job? In the job, why do you like to delete a data set? So here is the situation now. Here is the situation that if I don't delete the files before it run, I'll be ending with a duplicate data set issue. So how to delete a data set? Either I can delete manually by using 3.4D or I can use IBR14 or utility. Basically not utility, which is the answer through job. Now, which one is possible, guys? Is this one is possible that daily before 6 a.m. I need to delete all production files manually? Is this possible?
No.
Not possible, guys. This is not possible itself. First thing, we not be having access to delete. Second thing, every day I cannot do missionary work. If that is the case, they don't need to hire a 10 years experienced person for this. So we're gonna need to do it by utilities. So there are two utilities, guys. Okay, again there are two utilities that will be required to use. One is IEF-BR14, the other one is IDCAMS. One is IBR14, another is IDCAMS. Let's say the developer, okay, let's say now the developer one, what he has learned with the issue, he came with a new job cycle, new job setup, like job J1. He has used step 1 for IEF BR14, IEF BR14, deleted the file A, B, S1, S2 and report 1 also. And then from step 2, as usually he has set up everything, guys. Okay, from step 2 everything is as per this particular structure. Same thing, he tested it, the report was same. Okay, the report was same as fine. The user said put it in production, put to production daily 6 a.m. This is what he told. As soon as Monday has come, okay, Monday has come, the first run of the day, the job scheduler has triggered the job at 6 a.m. As the job got triggered, guys, it failed with JCL error again. This time the job failed on the first step only, guys, or first run only, basically. What would be the reason now?
File is not present when try to delete.
Anyone else? The job was modified to delete the files at the first step and then create the files for the day. The job was into the production on the first run. It got triggered at 6 a.m. but it failed immediately with JCL error. What is the reason, guys? What is the reason? Come on, Anurag, you have the answer, I know.
The files are not present, like Anurag mentioned. That is the same reason I have. The files
Same
are not
reason.
present.
Anyone else has any other reason? Anyone else has any other reason? Shivam, you have no reason today. The same reason. Please be concentrated, guys. This is the what I'm telling you. The developer main mistakes will be done by you also. And I don't want you to make a mistake as a fresher and then learn in the project. When you're coding for the project, you should be thinking all these points together. If you're a developer of a COBOL program, you're also the developer of JCL job as well. So if you're writing a very good COBOL program, you should have the best JCL as well with error proof. Failing in the test, nobody care, guys, nobody knows also. Okay, when you are doing testing and you found that you are having some issues or aberrations or errors, nobody cares because only you person will be knowing it and you will be fixing it. But when your code goes to production and it fails, this no longer your headache. It's completely your team and project headache. So that will be noticed in an easy way, even for a small mistake also. If it is a big mistake, then everybody says it's okay, we did not expect that. But if it is a small mistake like this, then they will scold you saying that have you not thought about these simple things. So I'm telling you very simple things that you should avoid mandatorily. There might be bigger things that may fail in the project. That's fine, guys. Okay, in my experience, I have moved some programs, invalid programs also into production, and I also got to back those changes back. In a couple of situations, I found that the scenario was not tested properly and nobody was expecting that case of situation. So nobody told me anything about that for that. But in a small situation, I mistakenly moved some code with a very simple mistakes also. Very simply, with my experience, I should not do that, but it happened. So that's a place where your actual skills will be reduced to the bottom, guys. If it is a bigger issue which is not expected by anyone, that's fine. But this is not bigger issue, guys. This is very small issue which developer one doesn't know. Okay, so in here, whatever Anurag told is the same, but I want you to think in a better way, always a little bit more ahead. So what here happens is this particular files which are trying to delete in step 1 is not present, guys. Okay, the file A, B and F1 report 1 are not existing. So when they are not existing, how do you delete it? In IBR 14, guys, you want to delete also. It's like I told you in the DD name, DDDSN equal to the name of the file. Display as view old delete delete. View old delete delete. That's what we do. Now our question here is that these particular files are not existing only. Without existing, if I try to delete them, we'll be getting JCL error saying that the file doesn't exist. Now to solve this one, guys, okay, to solve this problem, what we need to do is we need to create an empty data set in the production, before first run. Now question comes to ourselves, how to create an empty data set? Create an empty data set, guys. How to create an empty data set? Option 1, we know 3.2, that is a manual method. 3.2 a allocation method. Option 2, IFBR 14, creating an empty data set. Now why we want to do this way is, it is production, guys. This is a production. You may not have access, okay? You may not have access. Create a production file, to create a production file through 3.2. Okay, using 3.2 you may not have access to do that. So what we do in the project is we'll create a one-time job. We create a one-time job with this IFBR 14. In that we'll mention the new file details and run it through scheduler. Scheduler tool. So the scheduler tool will have access to the production files. So that particular ID will create you the files. Two questions from yesterday's class. Okay, there were two questions from the yesterday's class, guys. In what case you will be creating an empty data set? In what case you will be deleting an existing data set? So the answer is very simple, guys. This is a project situations. Okay, this is a project situation where in the project you are trying to move a new program, a new job setup to the production. And in one of the steps you want to delete the existing files so that you can avoid duplicate issue. But for the first day of the run, what happens? The files will not be present. So for that, what you do? You're gonna create some empty data set in the production. Either you can do manually, but you will not have access to do that for production files. For that, you will be creating a job with IBR 14 utility. Did everybody got this point where this IBR 14 is getting used?
Yes.
Everyone, guys, there are two questions. Why do you need to create an empty data set and why do you need to delete an existing data set? Clear so far?
Yes.
One is when you are trying to reuse the same jobs for second day, you will be getting JCL error of duplicate issue. So you are deleting them, deleting the cycles of files before they create. For that, one of the solution is to use IBR 14. But using this fellow, guys, by using this fellow, there is another problem of getting JCL error on the first cycle run. So for that, you are trying to create an empty data set by using IBR 14. But in the project, guys, instead of using IBR 14, we use IDCAMS. In the projects, IBR 14 is used this way. Okay, IBR 14 is used this way, but it requires an additional step of creating empty data sets. But IDCAMS has another option, guys. Okay, using this also we can create, or in the instance we just interested in deleting the data set. But how do I write this fellow? Here is step 0 or step 1, exit program equal to IDCAMS, write sysprint sysout equal to star. In any job, guys, okay, open any job, the first step will be IDCAMS step only. The very first step will be IDCAMS step only. What it does, it will simply delete all the files which are existing in the previous day run. Okay, all the existing files from the previous day run. Now you may say that this file may not be existing on the first day. In such cases, guys, okay, in such cases, we write the set maxcc as 0. If the files are present, delete and set to 0. If the files are not present, delete failed but still set to 0. This way, this particular reason, you don't need to create empty data sets in the production, guys. Because like I told you, if the files are existing, okay, assume it is existing files are there, they will be deleted and the maxcc will be 0 over here. The maxcc will be set to 0 also here. No issues. But in our case of assumption, if this job is running for the first day of the cycle, if this job is running for the first day of the cycle, guys, the files will be tried to delete. Where you get maxcc 8, okay, you get the condition code, highest condition code as 8. But what this fellow will do, it will reset to 0. It will reset to 0. This way we can avoid the pre-setup of production move. So in your project, guys, in your project, always you will be using IDCAMS. Always you will be deleting all the files requiredly and set the maxcc to 0, guys. Set the maxcc to 0. Clear? Any doubts here?
In case of JCL error, we got condition code 8, right?
JCL error, okay. Now, when you see JCL error, your job isn't started at all. You understanding?
Yes, but in case of any job, let's say on the third step, if it is failing with JCL error.
No, JCL error is a pre-step before executing, so it won't go to the third step and say JCL error. When your job submitted, okay, when your basic job is submitted, the syntax will be checked first. Right?
Right.
The syntax will be checked for, the duplication will be checked first, data existing or not will be checked first, disposition is correct or not will be checked first. So in a very random situation, you'll end up with a JCL error in between execution of the job, but it's a very rare situation in a random case. When you see a JCL error, in my mind, as a production support person, my mind says that the job isn't started at all.
But I have seen this in the project wherein the JCL, the job got failed between the steps with this error.
Yeah, in a random situation, that's you need to see. In my case, okay, not only my case, in a production support case, when we see a JCL error, the concept is very simple. The job isn't started. Why I'm telling this one is, when a job gets any abend number, guys, okay, any system abend number starting with S or a user abend number starting with U. As a support person, I will be frightened because I need to do a lot of analysis to fix it. But as a support person, if I get to see a JCL error, then I will be relaxed, guys, because the job isn't started at all. So in between there not be any data issue or any program issue. It might be some unavailability of the files or such things where I can find it and rerun. So getting a JCL error is very simple thing. Getting a job abend is what you need to work on. If it is a system abend, it's okay. You have a preset solutions. If it is a program abend, you need to analyze and do a set of solution there. In here, in this particular case, the developer one has learned one mistake. In one mistake, he learned that the jobs will be either failing with duplicate issue or the not having the dataset issue. So what the developer has done in his job, one of the step he have added the IDCAMS utility to delete the dataset and set to 0. Now, assume that this is the solution, okay? Assume this is the solution from the developer 1 where he has set the job with step 1 to delete, step 2, 3 and other things to create the files for the day. All the files for the day. Now, as usually, it has been tested again. It has been asked to move to production from the user. To do scheduled daily 6 a.m. This is what they want. Now, Monday came, 6 a.m. job started. In here, try to delete the old files. Got back 8, condition code 8, but your set operator made it to 0. Then the step 1, step 2, all the steps ran fine. Files A, B, C all created. The user verified the report and all okay. This is Monday run. On Tuesday, the job triggered at 6 a.m. deleted all files of Monday a day before, and then it creates new files for Tuesday. Every day delete and create. So this is all going fine with the user so far. The same thing happened on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Let's say this is Sunday, guys. Okay, I'm not writing other things. By Sunday, these things happened and the files from Saturday was deleted on this run. Now this is 1 week. On the 8th day of the Monday cycle, when the job again at 6 a.m. got triggered, deleted the files from Sunday. Okay, deleted the files from Sunday and created new files for the day of Monday, which were sent to user. Now user has sent a mail to us stating that like this: I'm developer 1. Can you please send me last Monday report one more time, so I can compare the data. Simply a thank you from your user. On Monday of the next week, the user sent a mail to you guys asking for the last week report so that he can compare the data and do his analysis. What is our reply, guys? What is our reply? Hello user. Sorry, we do not have any backups. That's it, right? Can we do anything here now? In this point of story, guys, if you observe, the duplicate dataset issue has been resolved. Okay, the duplicate dataset issue has been resolved, but it has created another error or another issue. What is the issue? Not having backup, right? Everyone on the same page, guys? Are you getting the points? Everything is in a lined up, guys. If you miss your first point, you will not come to this last point.
Yes, sir.
Anyone has a doubt here, please talk to me. This is a simple story that helps you to understand how the project is working. Okay, I'm not training at least a basic point. It's a much more to that important point only. The concept is very simple. With respect to coding, guys, you are adding only one simple line of delete steps only. That is what you are doing. But why you need to do, what happens if you don't do, where is the situation rises, in what places, how the systems is behaving differently, you are getting to know them. And you are also involving a developer of a fresher level and a user who is requesting for data also. So the fresher faced the issue technically and he fixed the technical issue by deleting the existing data set for the job run. But now the user came and told that I need the data, but you told there is no data backups. So if you go to the primary point of our solution to resolve the duplicate issue, if I delete the files and create the one for the day, this will resolve the issue, resolve the duplicate issue only. But on the contradictory point, it creates a backup missing story. So now let's go to the second solution. First solution is technically we spoke about IDCAMS, guys. Okay, the topic was on the IDCAMS on the first topic. The second topic what we have is to create a new file for each run. To create a new file for each run. That means Monday when the job is running, guys, when the job is running, it will create file A1, file B1 like this. Okay. When your job runs for the next time, if the job creates, if your job able to create file A2 and file B2, if this is the case, do you see any duplicates? Do you see any duplicates?
No.
These are two different files, guys. Okay, by the name, they are two different file names. So there are no duplicates here. Second question here is, do I have the backup for the file A and file B?
Yes.
We do have, guys. Okay, we do have. This is the backup for this particular files as such now. So you will be having to resolve both the problems. One, you should not be having any duplicate issue. Two, you should be having availability of the backups as well. We cannot rerun the process again and again, guys, for all the points or all the steps. There are situations where we cannot run the job second time and get the same result. There are situations if you have inputs, you can rerun and get the same output. There are like the different situations are there. Now, if that is the case, okay, how to create a new file for each run? How to create a new file for each run? So this again two ways: manually, daily, edit the production job and provide new file name. Edit the job and give the new file name. This is one option. Second option is in a VSAM topic only, guys. Basically it's VSAM, but it's not related to any clusters. So in a VSAM, there is a concept called GDG. Using this, the system itself will provide new file name. It will provide new file name for each run. Either we edit the production job daily and change the name of the file from A1 to A2 like that, or let the system itself generate the new file name for each run. Which one would be better, guys? Option 1, option 2?
Option 2.
Obviously option 2, guys, same thing. Manually we cannot do anything in the production, guys. Manually anything we cannot do things in the production. 1 second, there's a problem. Okay, now in here, guys, there is a topic called GDG, generation data group. In here it is collection of PS files. It's a collection of PS files. Each time the system itself will generate a new name, guys. In this case, okay, in this particular GDG, there are 2 points to learn. One point is to tell you the GDG base point. We call it as a base. Then we call it as a GDG generation. Generation is nothing but always your PS file, guys. If you create a base with a name of IBM user.t6. some claim, the system for each run of this particular job will be creating a generation version number 1 like this. Each time it runs a job, system will generate the generation numbers like 1, 2, 3. This way, you will not get any duplicate issues. You will not see any duplicates, and also you will be having the backups as well. The system itself will be creating the new numbering of this file, guys. For that, you need to first create the base and then use the base as your file in the jobs. From the COBOL point of view, there is no change, guys. Okay, from the COBOL point of view, there is no change with a PS file involvement or a GDG file involvement. There is no change at all. In the JCL only, this topic is only for JCL. This concept is only affecting JCL coding style only. In that particular style of coding, instead of using a regular PS file, we'll be using a GDG base. For that, system will be always creating with a new file number, which we call it as generations. This is generation 1, generation 2. Like that, you will be having a number of generations as per your backup requirement. Like I said, if you want to work on GDGs, there are 2 steps to do. First step is to create a base, create a GDG base. Now this you can do by again 3.2V manual method, or you can do by IDCAMS defined GDG command by running through a scheduler. Why it is through a scheduler? Like I told you again, guys, in the production you may not be having access to create production files or production GDG bases. You cannot be creating directly. If you have a random access, your senior is having an access or your SME can help you to with that, you can do with that immediately. But if you are in a preparation of production move and you need a files or you need a base to be created, the best way in the interview is to tell that we prepare an IDCAMS job and trigger that one-time job through a scheduler tool. The tool will have access because tool ID will be having everything required. So using that tool ID, you will be able to create a base in the production. Don't tell that you will be creating with 3.2V, guys. The interviewer is also already having experience in the job. So he knows that point, that how a base is created in a production environment. If it is a test, you can say that you created by using manual method, because this is quick, guys. You don't need to write a job or check the errors. Quickly you can go and fill in the blanks and you press enter, your base will be created. But this one you have to code the job, right? This is to code a job. So for coding a job, it will take time. For coding a job, it will take time, guys. So obviously we don't prefer this in a test. In production, yes, we prefer this one. In the test, you can prefer this one. Now, when you're creating a base, whether it is a manual method or an IDCAMS method, you need to mention the name of the base. Name of the base, that's very easy point. Then this is point 1. Then you need to tell the limit of generation, guys. Okay, limit of the generations. The maximum you can have is 255 only, guys. Okay, not more than that. If you are having confusion, if you are having doubt on this while doing the practical class tomorrow, I'll show you also. Okay, so this is the maximum number of generations you can have under a single base. Now, in here, if the user from your project, he says that I need 1 week of backup, then that's the place where you give the limit as 7. 1 month, if he says, then the limit of 31. How do you increase the limit for 1 year, guys? How do you get a base files for 1 year?
No, we can create only 255 bases.
Technically, yes. Logically, no. Technically, this is right. You are telling us technically you can create only 255 generations only. But The question is logically how you store 1 year of backup, or basically in any transaction application, okay, like any doing of payment transactions as such guys, anything that is involving a money transaction kind of thing, those need to be stored for 10 years. Okay, those need to be stored for 10 years. That is an audit rule actually. Financial audit rule for the project, which I know, mandatorily they need to store the data for 10 years. Today, if I do any transaction guys, that particular record should be there for next 10 years as per the project rule or audit rule only, financial audit rule. So this is what the point. How do we create a backup for 10 years? Daily process, okay, daily process, how to do that? Will be told you in the next class guys, okay, in the next class I'll be telling you, or I can tell you now itself.
Can we use no scratch?
If we can take the backup of last 1 month, like you say, they would be a monthly file, right? If we can take the last 12 months file, it will create 1 year backup.
Generally, that's what the idea. Okay, scratch no scratch is not for this particular point, Shivam here. I'll tell you what is the use of that also. In this case, guys, okay, in this case, this is a very project logic point only. We cannot have more than 255 is fixed, guys. That is fixed. There is no change in rule of that. In here, what we do is we know this concept already. So in the project, when we create this kind of applications, we design with a 4 GDG basis there. We don't need 255 generations also, guys. Hardly we need some 30-40 generations. We create 4 GDG bases individually, one for the daily cycle, one for the weekly cycle, one for the monthly, and one for the yearly cycle. So we'll be having 4 different bases. And for a daily base, you'll be having a limit of 7 only, guys. 7 as the limit, which will contain the generation from Monday to Sunday, containing generation 1, 2, 3 to 7 generations will be there. This is your actual daily program processing. This is already program that is getting processing every day. But weekly generations will be of 5 in limit, guys. Here it will be having week 1 to 4 or week 1 to 5. At the end of the week, what happens is it will take all the daily generations from G1 to G7 and copy into one weekly generation, guys. Just copy. This is just a IB gener copy. Okay. To copy, if you ask, this is the answer also. It takes all the generations of the base and create one weekly generation only. Likewise, you will be having generations number 1 to generation number 4 or 5 based on the limit for a month. Then a month end cycle will come. It has 12 months, so 12 is the limit. It takes all the generation, weekly generation from 1 to 5 and create one monthly generation. Just copy, guys. This is just a copy. IB gener copy only. Same thing happens here also. At the year end, guys, the generation limit is 10 because I want to store it for 10 years. In here, you'll be having all the monthly generations from G1 to G12 copied into one yearly generation 1. Just copy again. Same thing, guys. Nothing difference. Altogether, we need only some 34 files, 34 generations for complete 10 years of data. Did everybody get this concept, guys? Any doubts? Shivam, you got this point?
Yeah. So we will be having some header or trailer in that for like which day is it?
Every record, okay, every record in your project, apart from storing the money details, apart from storing the customer details, there will be always a date field.
Okay.
Mandatory, guys. Any data record you take, there will be a date field telling you when that record came, why or where that particular record is coming from, and what date it will be processed. Everything will be there on the dates. So if you don't know how to use a date, then it's very hard to understand the data filtering also. Now, once your base has been created, guys, with a number of generations, you need to tell one important thing here is to go for empty or no empty. Empty or no empty. When I say empty, guys, when I say empty, this means to delete all generations and create the new generation for the day. Say current, or I will not use the word now. No empty is the another case. In no empty situation, it will delete all, delete only the oldest generation and create the new one, My point is very simple, guys. You told that daily generation is limit of 7. Now after 7 days, on 8th day when your job is running, there is a exceed of limit, right? The limit is only 7. 8th day, 8th generation need to fit into that generation base. But if you observe, there are only 7 to be going. So if you are using empty situation, guys, if you are using empty situation on a daily base, daily GDG base, what happens here is it will delete all generation 1 to 7 and create only generation 8 for the day. This is what happens if you use empty. If you use no empty, what happens is for the same daily GDG base, it will delete generation 1 alone and keep the generation 2 to creating generation 8. Empty, remove everything and start over again. No empty, remove only the oldest one and continue with the existing new file. Did everybody get this point? Empty and no empty. But this is theory, guys. Theory is different and applying that in production is different, guys. I've been telling many times. My theory classes, my practical classes are different because knowing a concept, how to use that concept is completely different. So if my point of empty and no empty is this one, okay, this is the knowledge of empty and no empty. In these 4 bases, okay, in these 4 bases, what you will be defining them with? What is the option you're going to use while creating this basis of daily, weekly, monthly and yearly? Come on, guys, quickly. We don't have time. 8 minutes. There is a base and there is an option, guys. Go ahead. Shiva?
No empty.
For
No
yearly,
empty.
we'll be
Okay.
using.
Anil, you go first, then we come back to Shiva again.
I'll go for no empty itself.
Somebody who want to type also, they can type, guys. Okay. You want to go no empty all? Okay. Anybody has any change?
Yeah, first 3 it will be empty, then last one will be non-empty.
Empty. And last one is empty. That's what you say?
No, last one is non-empty. The first 3 will be empty, the last one will be non-empty.
Okay. So you are telling that first 3 are empty.
Yeah.
Last one is no empty. Anyone answer is different, guys? Apart from these 2 options, anyone has a different option there? Uday, you have any option today? You're silent, no questions from you today. Okay, so guys, here it is very simple. Okay, I'm gonna tell you one important line that you will not find any book. Okay, in any book you will not find this note point, not even in our notepad, because I'm not gonna type it. You should have backup mandatory, guys. Okay, you should have a data backup, that is mandatory, but you don't need to have multiple backups. You don't need to have multiple data backups. My point, if you take it here, at the end of the week, all the generation from this particular daily has been already copied into weekly, guys. All the generation from the daily has been copied into weekly. Now on the next Monday, 8th day, when we are running, we can go for empty, because the generation from 1 to 7 already stored in another base. We have a backup already here. Keeping the backups here is not much important or required. So I would say empty, 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 and no empty. Why? Because 10 years data, there is no other backup. This is the last backup. So on the every 11th year, guys, or I say every new year, if I say every new year, the oldest 11th year data will be getting deleted. The remaining 10 years data will be saved. That means if this is 2021, at the end of the December, a new generation will be creating with all January 21 to December 21 into one yearly file. But along with that, what happens is 2011, I guess, if it is 10 years back, 2011 or 2020, GDG base will be generation will be deleted. 10 years old generation file, whichever it is, that file will be getting deleted, and you still have 10 years data here. Got it, everyone? Why empty and no empty cases will come?
Yes.
The fourth point and the fourth, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. This number is using us. This will be PPT inside. So over here, guys, the last point is to tell whether to go for a scratch or no scratch. Scratch or no scratch. So if it is a scratch or no scratch, it means scratch means like your shift del, guys. No scratch in the sense it is like simple del. What is the difference? Shift del means directly permanently delete, not able to recover, not able to recover. Able to recover for certain time, like 30 days, something like that. Now, which one we should use? Which one you should use, guys?
No scratch.
This one, guys. This one. I know everybody want to have a intention to have a restoring point, but the design will not be like that. Project design has been made. The user has a request to store the backup for 7 days or 1 year or 10 years. That is the design. The design is to store the backup for 7 days. 8th day, it has to be vanished. There is another reason, guys. Every day, there are some thousands of generation files will be deleted every day. Not all in our application, we might be using some 30-40 generation bases, guys. In a project point of view, there will be some thousands of bases. Now, every day when a new file gets created, one of the old file will be getting deleted as well. That means you will be having a pile up of data waiting in the junk system for certain time, which mainframe is not interested to store. The design is to require, okay, if the user is requesting today for 1 week, you will be keeping only 1 week with a scratch option only. Tomorrow when a user comes and say that, can you give me the 8th day backup or 9th day backup? If he comes and asks for 8th or 9th day backup, we will tell that as per the design, we are only storing 7 days backup. If you want a change, we can make a change now, but we will not able to get the backups from the previous deleted one. That's a straight answer, guys. As per the design, what is the backup number of days you want, you will get that one only. If it is not days, if it is deleted, the generation is deleted, we will not go to any storage management team and ask it to recover them. We don't do that. It is how the design is. For 7 days, yes. 8th day, scratch it, completely remove it, no trace of it. But if you think that the data is important, then you should have taken another this kind of backups as much. But for a daily generation, once the 8th generation comes, these are all gone. No way you can recover them. You should go back to the weekly generation and get the data from there, like that. So go with the scratch, guys. Okay, go with the scratch. Don't go with the no scratch cases in the production concepts. Clear? Any doubts?
Yeah, Anil, could you go up to the place where you defined like the first step is table and then second step is again table? Yeah. So my question is related to the IFBR 14 which you told. You asked this question on Saturday as well. Like if I have created in why would I create with IFBR 14? I can create with table 1 and then at the last of the step like 5 we can have it as old delete keep. So what is the need for IBR 14 here?
IBR 14 for creating in the job?
But we can do that even with the table, the step 1 where table is there. So we can give it as new catalog and delete. And we can delete it at the step 5 with old delete or old
I'm
delete
not getting
key.
your situation. What's your project situation is? Here you're creating, this step is not creating empty file, right? Is it creating an empty file?
No, not an empty file.
It's a data file. So we are asking that IBR 14 is used for creating empty file.
Yeah.
So where do we need to create an empty file?
Yeah, for that we will use, but that data set would be used it here in table itself, right? The step 1.
Table,
So
I will say, when I say table, it is DB to table.
Yeah, I understand. From DB to table, it would be like processing into a file or something by using the program. So we can create it here as well, new catalog and delete, as we have done in previous classes, wherein we were.
That's what the point is now. When you are using your COBOL programs, you will be getting directly the data files. Okay, you are asking the same question which I asked you.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm telling that you'll need to create an empty files as a pre-production step. You need to create an empty files to create a pre-production step so that your first delete step will be successful.
No, but delete we have put it later. If I say in the 5th step is itself, I have set the disposition as old delete keep.
Wait,
so we won't have
I have
to
one
put
point for you that.
well.
I have one point for you there.
Yeah.
If you keep step 6 as delete, okay, just a minute, we are overlapping with other class. Okay. So, Shivam.
Yeah.
Let's say, I know your point. Yesterday and Saturday also you got this point, right? You told this point. Yeah. So now let me help you there. This is an interesting one. Let's say if this is your job and step 6 is what that is deleting. Okay. Now in this case, what happens? Monday run will not have any JCL error of dataset not found. Okay. Monday, the files will be not required. It will be creating for the first time. And what is the beauty of this is it is deleting immediately here only. After the job complete, where is my report? After my job completes, where is my report?
For the report step, we could use the GDG, but what I'm saying on step 4 itself, we'll give the delete of previous files, and step file we will be using a GDG. So in that case,
in the middle, don't do that. Okay. Again, you are thinking an alternate solutions which are not acceptable.
Yeah.
Practically, when there is a job abends, you'll be seeing where it is abending and which step to run again, right?
Yeah, correct.
If you are assuming that if I keep in middle the delete part, if I want to keep in middle the delete part, your first step will fail again, right? Saying that file not existing case or the file report file not existing case.
Okay.
You understand? You are already giving the solution that use GDG.
Yeah.
You are going
for
with
report we will have to use. For report we will have to use GDG. That's for sure.
Right. Not only for that. Okay. My point is, you're applying the solutions of deleting, of using GDG, but you're making a combinations wherever you want. You want to run it first time.
Yeah.
That won't help you because you may be acceptable for this time, but in the production runs, in your production reviews, you'll be caught there. You'll be in the wrong place, right? The understanding, if you are trying to keep delete at the last, your files will be deleted here itself before the day completes only. If you keep delete in the first step, the files will be there for next run. Till next run, the files will be there. 24 hours, the files will be there, right?
Yeah, correct.
If you delete them at step 4 also, the user today only user mailed you and asked you, can you check the process? I'm getting data wrong. Now, do you have any files to check?
No.
We deleted, right?
Yeah, correct.
So that is also another problem. First thing, we are not supposed to delete anything, but the situation is saying that if you don't delete, you will get duplicate issue. Now, last point, guys. Okay, we are overlapping, but I'll tell you last point. I told you two solutions. Okay, there are two solutions to deal with this duplicate issue. One, you can use IDCAMS and delete. One, you can use GDGs. Now, we cannot delete every file because user will come and ask the backup. Similarly, we cannot use GDG for everything, guys. Okay, every file is not a GDG file. Only the file which is required for the backup will be GDG. So on a job, okay, seeing a job, you has to get an idea that which one is a base, which one is a delete, which one should be GDG, which one should be deleted. In my understanding, this fellow is required to be a GDG. This fellow to be required to be GDG. This is a temporary file. This is a temporary file. Why temporary file? Because this I can create this S1 and S2. I can recreate S1 and S2 if I have this file A and B backup, right? If I have the file 1A and B backup, I can rerun and create the S file 1, 2, and because that is a sort only, right? So these will be temporary files. They don't require anywhere. But these files are required in the below step. So we are using this pass option, temporary pass option over here and over here. So this fellow is a report. User may not ask you to rerun the process. Unit mark may ask you for the last week report. For that one, I need to create another GDG. Now, the output files, okay, from your note point, if I want to show you, the output files will be the final output files, not every output file. The final output file will be a GDG base only. Okay, what I mean by final is a job may contain 1 step or 10 steps. So for each step output will not be a GDG base, guys. Only the last step file will be mandatorily a base. This is one note point. Second note point is if you can rerun and create same output files, there is no GDG is required, which means if I run step 1 today and I get a data, if I run the same step tomorrow also, if I able to get the same data, then bases are not required. If I'm running today, I'm getting some data, and if I'm running tomorrow, I'm getting different data, then the bases are required. You got it, everyone? Not every file is a base. Okay, my point is very simple. Not every file is a base, guys. Similarly, not every file should be deleted. You need to catch this point from your situation of the project. When you are writing the project, you may not be doing this step 1 to step 5, but I given as the example here. This notepad example is not the case what you're gonna face in the project. It might be containing 2 steps or 10 steps with 1 file or 10 files. You need to figure out that which one to be creating as a backup in case user asks me, which one can be deleted if I can recreate them. So 2 points, IDCAMS delete and IDCAMS GDG. That we'll be seeing in the practical class tomorrow, guys. Don't miss your classes. Like I told you guys, these are some important topics. Whatever we have a knowledge as a developer 1 should make to the knowledge of developer 2. The experienced person, he knows why to use temporary files, he knows why to use GDGs, he knows how to delete the files for the run of the job. He knows, guys. Now you want to be here, you'll be making mistakes. You can be here and avoid a lot of mistakes. Tomorrow class, we'll be dealing with this fellow and some of these fellows as well together, mostly on the IDCAMS, mostly on the GDG. GDG is the one of the top interview question topic, guys. In any interview, if they're asking JCL questions module, GDG is one of the touch point of place where they will be expecting you to answer correctly. And we can do that, guys. Okay, there are questions of anything, but we have a concept that will decode the question and we can answer them as well. So this fellow and this fellow are important for your interviews. You are attending the class or not, see the recording at least. This is your class notes. We'll catch up tomorrow, guys. We are